Do the follow-up bell to receive new. Your support helps us and motivates us to be creative. Biography of U.S. President Thomas Jefferson 1801–1809 AD. President Thomas Jefferson was one of the most prominent supporters of the complete separation of church and state, in addition to his support for the principle of American individual liberty as the basic meaning of the American Revolution. In our next article, we will learn about a biography of American President Thomas Jefferson 1801–1809 AD. His birth and upbringing. Thomas Jefferson was born on April 13, 1743, at Shadwell Farm outside Charlottesville, Virginia. His father, Peter Jefferson, was a successful farmer and surveyor who produced the first accurate map of Virginia. Jefferson belonged to one of Virginia's most prominent elites. His mother, Jane Randolph Jefferson, was of the Randolph clan, an English and Scottish royal family. Studying it in 1760, Jefferson left home to attend the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. Although it was the second oldest college in America after Harvard, it was not a strict academic institution. Reading law books. After 3 years at the College of William and Mary, Jefferson decided to read the law books under Wyeth, one of the leading lawyers of the American colonies. As there were no law schools at the time, instead, lawyers read under the supervision of an established lawyer before being examined by the Bar Association. Attorney Wyeth supervised Jefferson through a 5-year course of study until he was able to win admission to the Virginia bar in 1767. His personal life. After his father's death and when Jefferson was a teenager, he inherited the Shadwell family property. In 1768, he began clearing a mountaintop, preparing to build an elegant brick mansion called Monticello, where he had a keen interest in architecture and gardening, and on January 1, 1772, he married Martha Wells Skelton. His most prominent opinions. Slavery was a contradictory issue in Jefferson's life. Although he was an advocate of individual liberty, and at one point promoted the plan to gradually emancipate the slaves in America, he owned large numbers of slaves throughout his life. Although he wrote in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, he believed that African Americans were biologically inferior to whites and believed that the two races could not coexist peacefully. Thomas Jefferson and the American Revolution. The American Revolution in 1775, with the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War, Jefferson was selected as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress. Although he was not well known as a great public speaker, he was a talented writer and by the age of 33 was asked to draft the Declaration of Independence. In the fall of 1776, Jefferson resigned from the Continental Congress and was re-elected to the Virginia House of Delegates. His most notable achievements: the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom, which he composed in the late 1970s and passed Virginia legislators in 1786, is considered one of the significant achievements of his career. It formed the basis of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which protects the right of people to worship as they please. From 1779 to 1781, Jefferson served as governor of Virginia. From 1783 to 1784, he served for a second term in Congress and in 1785, succeeded Benjamin Franklin as United States ambassador to France. Jefferson's road to the presidency. Returning to America in the fall of 1789, President George Washington commissioned him to become the new country's first Secretary of State. When he assumed this position, he clashed with U.S. Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton, 1755–57–1804, over foreign policy and its various interpretations of the U.S. Constitution. In the early 1890s, Jefferson co-founded the Democratic-Republican Party to oppose Hamilton's Federalist Party, which advocated a strong national government with broad powers over the economic environment. The struggle between the candidates in the elections. During the 1796 presidential election, Jefferson ran against John Adams and received the second largest number of votes, which made him vice president by law. Jefferson again sided against Adams in the presidential election of 1800, which turned into a bitter battle between Federalists and Democrats. Jefferson defeated Adams. However, due to a flaw in the electoral system, Jefferson tied with fellow Democratic Republican Aaron Burr, 1756-1836. So the House broke a tie and Jefferson voted for his office. Jefferson, the third President of the United States. Jefferson was sworn in on March 4, 1801. His inauguration ceremony was held in Washington, D.C. One of the major achievements of the first Jefferson administration was the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million in 1803. In 1804, Jefferson ran for re-election and defeated Federalist candidate Charles Pinckney, 1746-1825, of South Carolina with more than 70% of the popular vote. His second term. Jefferson, the third President of the United States. Jefferson was sworn in on March 4, 1801. His inauguration ceremony was held in Washington, D.C. One of the major achievements of the first Jefferson administration was the purchase of the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million in 1803. In 1804, Jefferson ran for re-election and defeated Federalist candidate Charles Pinckney, 1746-1825, of South Carolina with more than 70% of the popular vote. His second term. 7 quotes about Thomas Jefferson. 1. I'm a big believer in luck, and I've noticed that my luck increases the more I work. 2. No one can gain respect by doing what is wrong. 3. Walking is the best exercise ever, so get in the habit of walking as far as possible. 4. Self-confidence and optimism for good are contagious, and what a contagion. 5. I cannot live without books. 6. Nothing gives one person so much privilege over another as to always remain calm and confident under all circumstances. 7. The happiest moments of my life are the few I spend at home with my family. Thomas Jefferson. In recent years, Jefferson died at the age of 83 in Monticello on July 4, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.